Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with my good friend Bob Carson from Carson's Corner. Say hello, Bob.
Hello, Bob.
Very good, Bob. This is just a test to see if it records well, because, as you know, people love my shows. I want to get into the video age. So, I'm going to ask Bob a big question. You ready for this, Bob?
Sure.
This segment is going to be called, What Pisses Bob Off the Most? So, what pisses Bob off the most?
Well, you know, there are many pet peeves that I could probably spend an hour or so talking about the things that annoy me, but one that pops up into mind is when you're on a checkout line, right? And let's say you're at a convenience store and you just have a few items and you want to get the hell in and get the hell out of there. And the person in front of you makes their purchase, and it takes them like 45 minutes seemingly to get off the line. You're sitting there waiting. There's tension there. The other person sees you. There's an unspoken tension like, listen, get the hell out of my way. Get out of here. Okay, you already made your purchase. Get your stuff and get the hell out of here. And the thing about it is that it goes both ways.
It's
because
5 o'clock.
There have been times where I've been on convenience store lines and I've been at the front of the line and I could feel the tension from the next person on line too. It's just this weird, tension, this weird emotion that people feel when they're at the convenience store, and it's a pet peeve of mine. It really does. Some of these people take too long, especially you got the mother with kids, or you got people at the cash register, and they're not sure what they want, and they hold up people, and then you got cigarettes. Oh, I want that pack of cigarettes. No, I'm in Marlboro Green or Marlboro Red or more of these stupid packs of cigarettes that the cashier can't find, and that holds up people in line. And just, there's all these different peeves that are associated with convenience stores that really, really bother me. And I don't know. I could, maybe one day I'll be violent or something like that, and I'll wind up getting into a confrontation with people, because you never know. That's certainly possible. You got one of these punks or one of these tough guys or something like that that can see my body language and read it, and then wants to get smart with me, and then next thing you know, you've got fists flying. It's not unheard of. It has happened. I could think of, there was a YouTube video or a video on one of these websites where the same thing happened, where a black female was online. She was being helped by a store clerk, and the guy from behind was heckling her. And this went on for about 5 or 6 minutes, because after the guy started heckling her, he was a white guy, younger guy, she started to take her time, and ultimately it built up to the point where it almost got physical, and the lady took out some mace and maced the guy right in the face, and he fell over, knocking some products over. It sounded like he knocked over a shelf.
Wow.
It was actually kind of funny. But stuff like that can happen because you've got inconsiderate people, too. Now, another thing, too, that really bothers me, another pet peeve, is people talking on their goddamn cell phones very loud when you're in a quiet area. Like, for example, a few weeks ago, I went to go get my oil changed, and this clown is next to me with his Bluetooth on, having an entire conversation, literally a foot next to me, without a care in the world. That's something that never happened before. We've become increasingly rude of a society where we want to talk in public at any time and just not have a care in the world. And that's something I don't do. I'm very, very rarely on my cell phone in public anyway, at least in public stores or wherever there are other people around me. And if I am, I'm very, very quiet about it. I certainly don't want to have everybody disturbed by my conversation. So these are just two of the things that have come across my mind that have happened to me pretty recently.
Well, and very quickly, Bob, for my YouTube viewers, because you know that I'm a huge supporter of Carson's Corner and the political show. I used to co-host the show, and I might start back again. But very quickly, can you tell us about what the show tonight is about?
Thank you very much, Justin. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to let people know what's going on tonight. And yes, you were a big part of the show, and hopefully you'll be a part of the show in the future. We value everything that you brought to the show, and anytime I've hosted the show with you, it's been very, very fun. It's been one for the ages. Tonight we have an MMA show, the sport of mixed martial arts. Is covered on one of my shows, and we're going to have Mark Pavlich on. He's the president of the Maximum Fighting Championship. He's got an event May 10th, I believe, MFC 39. He's got some heavyweight fights. He's got fights of all different weight classes. And I want to get his take on Monty Cox, who's a very, very famous manager and promoter in the MMA industry. He's probably one of the longest standing promoters outside of the UFC, based out of Iowa, said that Mark Pavlich should be in jail. So, anybody that's listened to Mark Pavlich knows that the guy is extremely passionate, extremely outspoken, and he makes for a great interview. He's really very similar to Dana White, although he probably works harder than Dana White. He doesn't have billionaire friends. Well, he does, but not to the extent that Dana White does.
Yeah.
And secondly, we have Danquinn on. Danquinn is, of course, is incarcerated, waiting trial at the Sacramento County Jail, where Dan has made all sorts of accusations that they've tried to kill him. He is on the show giving us an update about his situation. Danquinn, of course, is the saint of Stevia, former Notre Dame football player, MMA fighter, and really world-famous individual who unfortunately was lambasted by TMZ.com as they posted a video in which Dan was framed, supposedly, or not supposedly, a poster, a fraudulent individual trying to frame Danquinn, called Dana White and made threats, and also called Don King. And TMZ published this erroneous video as if it were Danquinn, ultimately smearing him in the eyes of the public. And Dan is still trying to sue TMZ.com. So this is a world-famous individual with a huge following. He's going to be on Carson's Corner tonight, 8 p.m., blogtalkradio.com/Carson's Corner. That's how you could check out the show.
Okay, and my last question for this episode, actually I've got two questions. Would you care to do like a weekly segment with me?
Yes.
For my YouTube channel?
You bet you. Justin, it would be an honor. I think it would be great. And you know something? You're a real intuitive guy, because I don't know if I told you this, but I actually was considering doing some sort of a YouTube thingamabob. And you're ahead of the curve. It would be an honor, and I would do it every single week that I can. So absolutely, Justin, you just let me know the time and the place, and what you want to talk about, and I'll have you on my show to promote this, and you may enjoy this more. Audio podcasting is one thing. I love it. I love talking. I can talk for hours, but video is something else. I mean, you could upload one of these YouTube videos and get hundreds of thousands of hits. I'm telling you, it's not uncommon, as you know. And so, I'd be honored to be a part of it. Weekly segment, whatever you want to do, and I'd help out in any way I can.
Awesome. And my last question before I wrap things up, so my audience doesn't think that I'm just dragging things along here. You know how people get; they have short attention spans and blah blah blah. But my last question is, Bob. We've got our Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, we've got this and that. Do you think our society is getting overboard with social networking nowadays?
I think our society is. I don't think they're getting bored with it. Although you can make an argument that social media, just like everything else, has a lifespan. and eventually some of these social media sites will become obsolete in the future. I mean, everybody remembers MySpace and the popularity of MySpace, and I don't think too many people really anticipated that MySpace would be basically one day obsolete. So I think that the social media sites are here to stay. They offer some positive things to society and some negative things to society, but I just think that they really fit our culture now. And I think that ultimately they're going to be here to stay. And I just want to tell everybody that no, I am not the son of the recently deceased Paul Bearer. Okay, I'm not. And so
a true legend, nonetheless.
What was his real name? It wasn't. I mean, obviously, it wasn't. It was
like Percy something.
Yeah,
Percy,
Percy Smith, or I forget.
Something. I'll have to look it up on the internet, but yeah. He was a true legend, and what a lot of people don't realize was the reason he could play that part so well was he was actually a funeral director.
That's correct, in Alabama. That's right, and he was a genuine, compassionate funeral director. You know, I was in the business 2 years ago, and I got in the business not to give care to people. I got in the business because I thought it'd be cool to be picking up dead bodies, and I was on call for 24 hours a day, and I could really attest to the fact that most people in the industry are compassionate people and get into it for the caregiving aspect. And Paul Bearer has a website. I forget what it's, probably maybe paulbearer.com, just guessing here. But he has great pictures of him on the road and the years that he was involved with the WWF before it turned into WWE, and it's worth checking out.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for your time, Bob, and we will be talking with you next week.
Hey, Justin, keep up the good work, man. I'm glad to see you getting back and doing some recording and putting some stuff out there. You're really an inspiration, and I hope that you have fun in what you're doing, and I'd be honored to be a part of anything going forward. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you, Bob. Take care, brother.
Take care, my friend.
Bye.
All right.